All right, guys, welcome back. And we are about to get started with today's feature presentation. It is a best of 7 for 80 bucks and a slot in the Tournament of Champions. We have PartinG versus TaeJa, guys. Not only is this going to be two of the top players in the world that we're going to see tonight, it's also a rematch of what happened back in May. PartinG was able to defeat TaeJa 4-3, which was quite a surprise because at that time, people were saying TaeJa was kind of washed up, a little bit of a slump, but he took part in the game 7. He's going to look to try to be able to finish what he couldn't do in that series. And, you know, we have so many amazing games, so many amazing players. There's no way we could have done it all on our own here at Team Gravity. We have some amazing partners we've been working with. For one, we have Spawning Tool, guys, and this is actually coming really handy for you because I know there's no doubt in my mind that this is a time for people to start studying, right? It was fun watching the players we had earlier, but these are two of the top players in the world. They always have something to show us that we haven't seen as far as builds, as far as strategies. So if you guys are looking at this from an academic standpoint, Spawning Tool is going to help you after because that's where you're going to find the replays for these games, and they're going to analyze those replays, bring you guys build orders and stuff like that. So you definitely want to check them out. So big thanks to Spawning Tool for being our partner here. And then what about our newest partner, Cybert?
Before we get to Matcherino.com, I do just want to highlight that Spawning Tool has a new feature on their website that allows you to submit custom build orders. So you can enter a build order and then share it with your friends and connect with other people on the site. But the second site you mentioned, we've kind of been giving a lot of money away to players in Fight Night, and our next sponsor, Matcherino.com. We indeed have something special coming from them. Also, we have $50 going to this prize pool. So the ordinary the ordinary main event is a $60, $20 split. So $80 total that gets split between the two players. In this case, Matcherino, they were like, that's not good enough. We want to bump that up by $50 more. So it's going to be $30 to the winner, $20 to the loser. $90 in total will be going to whoever wins this best of 7. $40 will be going to the loser of this best of 7. So they both walk away with something, and part of that is directly from Matcherino.com. And of course, you can check them out on Twitter, twitter.com/Matcherino. Exactly how you'd think it's spelled, _. So remember that underscore at the end. But our other partners, they have Twitters as well. And of course, twitter.com/spawningtool for those wonderful replays. To support them over there, give them a follow, and of course, keep in touch with them. And then twitter.com/hitboxlive, the kind of headliner sponsor. They help us put together the regular fight nights, the Tournament of Champions, and of course, they're putting a lot of money directly into the pockets of StarCraft 2 players, which is always awesome to see. And, you know, we're going to be loading into Iron Fortress for game number 1. Last time, this was an absolutely epic series, and TaeJa, he hasn't actually played a televised match in about a month, so I'm really curious to see what is he going to bring to the table.
Yeah, he's been a hermit, hibernating for a while. Probably training, probably figuring out some new strats maybe. We'll see what he's going to have here for PartinG, because he's got to be out for blood, I'd have to think. And yeah, let's get started here with game 1 of 7, potentially, here on Iron Fortress LE. So, our first player, guys, he's going to be on the upper left-hand side. Red Terran player. Couldn't quite close out the series last time. Took it to game 7. Can he get his revenge? For Team Liquid, it is TaeJa.
While in the bottom left-hand corner, the Cyan Protoss player who is currently featured in a GIF in chat, which is actually just hilarious. I'm getting distracted by it. Our other component of this best of 7, Yoey Flash Wolves PartinG! Which, of course, if you guys are watching on Team Liquid, click through to the stream, because Hitbox has some interesting features, and I don't know if the GIF will load for you guys when you come over here, but there will surely be more GIFs in the future, because this GIF of PartinG, where he's like crushing a sun chip, is just hilarious. I don't even know what's going on. I'm too distracted.
I don't know. He seems hungry and angry at the same time. He's hangry, I guess. Since we're in the business of combining words here, as you may have noticed from the coupon code for Matcherino. By the way, if any of that went over your guys' heads, you know, just the explanation of that, our friendly mods in chat will explain it to you. The whole idea here is we're trying to develop Fight Night into something where you guys can get involved beyond just sitting there and watching with blank faces. We want you to really be a part of, you know, the party that's happening in chat. We want you to feel like you're supporting the players through things like Batch Arena, the ability to donate to them. We want you to feel like you can study these games and learn from them when these replays show up on Spawning Tool, and you can compare the build orders and stuff. This is about taking show matches to the next level. That's what we're trying to do here at Team Gravity Fight Night. So I hope you guys are able to benefit from that.
There's really definitely a lot of benefits to be had between Matcherino giving away money in the terms of free coupon codes for you guys to use. By the way, the code for this particular best of 7 is TaeJa, so PartAeja. And as Droopy was referencing, it's a combination of smashing those player name togethers. So we're getting into this game number 1, and already we've got the 1-1-1 from TaeJa, a guy who was known for his multitasking and his fantastic game awareness.
Yeah, 1-1-1 against Protoss is most certainly an aggressive thing. And I do have to point out here, too, that, you know, every time you see PVT, if you're a foreigner and you play on EU or NA a lot, you're probably automatically just thinking, oh, it's going to be Reaper Expand, especially on Iron Fortress. Not with these guys. These guys, you know, they're willing to get aggressive because they know they have the micro to back it up. And that's why we're seeing Widowmine coming out of TaeJa right now. He's going to turn this into a drop, and he's going to challenge PartinG here. And PartinG himself momentarily on one base as well. Why? Look at that. That's a Dark Shrine, guys. We're seeing both players go from 0 to 100 right here in game number 1.
Things do not start off slowly here in Fight Night, where we had absolutely fantastic matches earlier on, the best of 5s both going the distance, and now this best of 7 kicking off in style, as you mentioned, some very aggressive plays from both of these guys. PartinG going to be hunting down this SCV, looking to snipe it, just to kill any potential scout that TaeJa would be trying to go for, or rather any secondary scout that he would be trying to go for. PartinG, one of those guys who is known for his fantastic control and definitely considered, even though he may have gotten dropped in the round of 16 of GSL, he's still one of the best in the world.
He is, and really either of these guys are just at the top of their game in so many ways, and right now they're about to be tested, both of them, as we're seeing aggressive openers on both sides. Here comes the first drop of Marines and one Widowmine. Hellions are rolling in as well. Can PartinG micro his way against it? He's got 2 Stalkers, which of course can kite. But what about these Hellions as well? Going after probes now here in the mineral line. Is PartinG going to have to warp in defensive DTs? Certainly something he'd prefer not to do, but he may not have a choice.
DTs are being warped in as 8 probes have gone down. Still not enough for a photon overcharge. Only 5 more energy for that. And of course, so much damage being done by TaeJa. If you guys thought this guy was in a slump, well, he'll show you something else as he's going to drop Marines directly on top of the probes to try to pick up another couple of kills. And of course, softening up these probes for some massive splash damage. Oh, wow, as 19 probes in total have gone down. At the same time, PartinG looking to do his own damage on the other side of the map.
Oh, and he can. He has an opportunity, but he's going to have to target fire like crazy here. These SCVs are running around like chickens with their heads cut off. There's no detection yet. Any sign of a missile turret? Nope. And these 2 CCs, when is the energy going to come? Because he sorely needs it. That said, though, TaeJa's doing a good job right now of just buying time with his SCV micro here. And for the moment, he's got a pretty big advantage economically.
What a move by TaeJa. And of course, because PartinG was going for that hidden tech, he was weaker than he would have been. There's the scan. Finally, enough energy. And the DT will barely step out of range of the scan, narrowly missing the opportunity there. And oh my, this is 2 DTs now. Oh, there's another scan.
Yeah, I mean, 2 CCs, there's going to be enough scans to go around eventually. One thing, though, is that there's another DT running up the ramp, and it's going to be a while before we see more detection, but there's repair. And that is going to buy just enough time here. Actually, a couple more SCVs need to get on that. But yeah, PartinG knows it's over. He's lost so much. GG, and TaeJa coming out with a bang here.
Something like 12 probe kills pretty much immediately out of that game. And
yeah.
The combination. Oh yeah, that stack as the probes went back to the minerals.
That was brutal. That was brutal. And it's one of those things that you just want to like watch over and over again in disbelief. Should you guys want to do that, I do want to point out that these will all be VODs on hitbox.tv/Team Gravity. So you do need to make your way over here if you want to know what I'm talking about there. But also, Team Gravity does have a YouTube channel. So if you guys want to go over there, not only will you be able to see these games archived there, but you'll also be able to see previous fight nights of, well, actually these two players going at it. So if you're curious about what happened last time, it's a place where you can find out.
And if you, of course, go to teamgravity.net/VODs, that's the quick URL to get taken to a nice list of games for you guys to watch. But certainly that last game was a combination of a pretty much best case scenario for TaeJa and a worst case scenario for PartinG, where he's like, it's a big map. TaeJa has gone CC first in the past. He's not above a bit of greed. And so, of course, PartinG is hoping that he opens CC first. TaeJa's like, no, man. I'm not getting my CC for like 20 minutes. I'm going to go for the 1-1-1, drop a Widowmine and a bunch of Marines, bring along a couple of Hellions, and of course pack so much damage into that first attack. Really nice moves by TaeJa, and you see even a guy like PartinG, who by the way has had 10 consecutive GSL round of 16 appearances, earning his own PartinG award after earning the Nestea award, is just getting taken to town by TaeJa, who, you know, has fallen off.
One thing I can say, though, is that, you know, Iron Fortress, it is a map that, you know, historically favors Terran a bit. So losing on that isn't the end of the world. It is a best of 7. And if history's any indication, we're probably going to have 7 games. So let's get onwards with number 2. It's going to be on Terraform LE, guys. And here is the Protoss player who was, well, met his unfortunate end with Hellions. Can he turn things around here? It's going to be the blue Protoss, upper left-hand side, playing for Yoe Flash Wolves. It is PartinG.
In the bottom right-hand corner, up 1 game. He's red, but he's representing Team Liquid. This is TaeJa! And much like our first series, where we had the players wearing the wrong colors, I mean, we got, you know, Yoe Flash Wolves PartinG. He's rocking the blue. That should be TaeJa's color.
Yeah. Well, then again, I mean, PartinG isn't supposed to be red or anything, so at least these are like those, you know, standard colors that everyone should be, one or the other. So I can live with this. I'm okay with it. But we're gonna see a gas first opener again from TaeJa. So again, if you're expecting some, you know, Reaper expand and you wanted to learn from his Reaper expand versus the one you're doing, you're gonna have to potentially wait until game 6 because we're seeing another 1-1-1 out of him very likely. For PartinG, on the other hand, double gas after gateway. We'll see if he saturates both, because then that'll indicate 1 base play. Just from this, it's very likely we're going to see 1 base play from him anyways, but full saturation would all but confirm that.
He's done kind of the 2-and-1 mix of saturation. Drops the Cyber Core as well. We're seeing the Scout come out from Liquid TaeJa. So, of course, with this sort of opening that that PartinG is going for, he's not going to be able to stop this SCV from getting pretty much a perfect Scout.
Yeah, that SCV is just going to make its way over there slowly. Factory on the way now here for PartinG, who belongs to Mist 89 as a clan. Not sure what that is. Don't know what to think of that. But Cyber's going to finish up. So let's see what kind of tech we're going to see out of PartinG. Probably will be a Mothership Core first, as this SCV is kind of roaming around. Don't really want to reveal your strategy to your opponent. But for TaeJa right now, I think it's pretty clear what he's kind of up to here. Immediately, there's going to be a starport. We're seeing some Marines coming out right now. And yeah, there is a starport right there.
And with this gas first delaying the racks until 12, you can do like the 12-12 Reaper expanded to a 1-1-1. Well, I guess it wouldn't be Reaper expand, but you can't open a Reaper into the 1-1-1. And as you kind of referenced there, it worked really well for TaeJa in the last game. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Widowmine and the starport both going to be finishing up momentarily. Nexus on the way for PartinG. And there's the Twilight Council. Blink is a very likely possibility. Oh, giving away the first Stalker because of in the shrubbery were those 3 Marines. That's a lot of damage.
So I guess, looks like PartinG has decided to go with, the double gas mothership core expand, which, you don't really see too often these days. A lot of people will prefer to just go with 1 gas. But I guess what this has enabled him to do is that he's able to get out that Twilight Council just a bit earlier than, would be if he didn't get the second gas. So we're going to see a robo facility on the way as well. So it's going to be a blink opener from him, and a slightly earlier one from him. So he wants to get out that mobility quicker to defend against another 1 base opener from TaeJa. Now let's see what PartinG knows about this. He knows nothing, by the way. He has not scouted TaeJa at all this entire game. So for him, he's just going to be going purely off game sense and guesswork. And a player with his experience serves him a lot better than it does for the rest of us. But this drop is about to make its way in here.
We're seeing the key differences of this game versus the previous one, where when this attack hit from TaeJa, the timing wasn't too different. But of course, the Mothership Core was so much later. It was about 50 or 60 energy behind where it is now. And of course, this Widowmine on the low ground, well, it's in an awkward spot, but it still has the opportunity to do lots of damage if these Stalkers just step a bit too close, which it looks like they can't just yet. So that's very good for TaeJa. He's adding on his 2 additional racks back home, so he's starting to power up for that 2 base attack, as of course I believe the Hellions getting cleaned up as well.
You actually bring up an excellent point about that Mothership Core, Cyber, because last game, he was rushing out that DT Shrine and getting a Robo as well. That delayed his Mothership Core, right? And it cost him dearly. This time around, he decides to go ahead and get that a little bit sooner. That's why instead of just going with a 1 gas Mothership Core opener, he goes with 2, because he also wants to get his tech as well. So this definitely helped him out, although this Widowmine unloads on those Stalkers, which is unfortunate for him. But so far, he's holding well against this this 1 base play from TaeJa.
TaeJa not really letting up, and actually going to be dropping 2 tech labs back home onto those racks. So while, technically he could swap those out for something else, of course, this is most likely going to be Stim and Marauder production on the way. Lots of opportunities for TaeJa to start doing damage, and he's looking to move away from that 1 base play that you were referencing. He's going to try to take himself a natural expansion. Blink's coming out from PartinG, going to try to keep his Stalkers alive as long as possible.
I'm a little disappointed with the last 2 Widowmine hits here, at least for PartinG, because really, he has Blink at his disposal. He should have been able to micro away from those Widowmine hits, but he ate them in the face twice anyhow. But right here, he is containing TaeJa a bit here. TaeJa's going to have to push out with these units, but, is there Stim yet? No, Stim's only starting now, so really, is it a good idea for him to go after these Stalkers? Kind of questioning.
TaeJa scanning, trying to clean up the observers, but there's 2 observers denying those Widowmines from doing anything. Of course, SCV's getting pulled and trying to go back into the main base. Now, Widowmines being cleared up is a lot of the defense that TaeJa was depending on, forced to fight with SCVs at the front. A couple of Marines now going to be coming in. Really, the only medevac here is not really doing a whole lot. The medevac's not doing too much just yet, but a lot of forces getting cleaned up. There's the TaeJa that we know and love, sniping observers like he's back at DreamHack. Nice blinks by PartinG.
Eventually TaeJa's going to be able to scrounge up enough units to push these Stalkers back. A lot of them are actually in orange and red health right now. The problem for TaeJa is PartinG is just getting ahead while he's doing this. He's containing you. He's not looking to try to kill you. This Widowmine, we'll see if TaeJa can, and PartinG sees it. So good on him for that. And really, what's going to happen is, there's a huge worker lead right now for PartinG. He has his natural. TaeJa does not. And so really, he's just being contained. He'll finally be able to break out soon enough, but there's been a lot of lost time.
Stim's still 30 seconds away as +1 is also on the way, but that's still 100 seconds. Colossi will be out eventually as the Robo Bay is going to finish up, well, relatively soon, just another 20 seconds or so. But this Contain, as you were kind of referencing, is surprisingly powerful, and now things are about to get a little bit more complicated for TaeJa as the Warp Prism gets added in for PartinG. So PartinG is going to have to deal with potentially two-pronged attacks as Marauder's getting unloaded onto the low ground. TaeJa has been known in some cases for his great medevac play, but can he really survive with it this time? Going to be trying to target down the rocks is PartinG. He's looking to split off his units and trap TaeJa on the wrong side.
PartinG is just, oh man, his reactions are so perfect every time. I mean, TaeJa was gearing up to do that, sandwich, and PartinG is like, okay, time to leave, and he just leaves at the perfect time and just slips right out of it. And now as TaeJa's completely outside of his base, this Warp Prism comes in. My goodness.
3 Zealots, but the Warp Prism takes a shot from the Widowmine. A lot of these Zealots now low on HP, of course, forcing the pickup and the retreat from PartinG. But, of course, he has an opportunity to head back in a couple of moments. Keep in mind that TaeJa's army is about to collapse in near the main or the natural. With these dropships, this could be a bit of an elevator for TaeJa.
Yeah, and you know what? TaeJa was cooped up inside his base for so long. He was just continuously making units off those racks. He actually has a larger army supply right now than PartinG. So can he actually come and snipe that Colossus? Colossus is moving back, stays in red health here as Photon Overcharge is activated. The thing, though, is that PartinG has defender's advantage. PartinG has the ability to make a lot of reinforcements. Needs to be careful with that Colossus. Is good enough with it and is able to clean up TaeJa's attack.
That nearly perfect defense was augmented by the fact that TaeJa went into a bit of a red rage for the Colossi. He tried to dive on it, and the GG comes down. PartinG with the defense able to even the score up 1-1. And again, TaeJa diving onto that Colossi, which by rights, with no range, should have been fairly easy to take down. But PartinG was like, all right, if you're going to commit to this, you're going to trade out so many units trying to kill the Colossi, and then I'll just kill you. Easy.
Yeah, and TaeJa was contained for so long, and just an excruciatingly long time, where that was kind of his one push to win the game or severely cripple PartinG. He couldn't do either. That's why we have the series tied up now. So we're gonna go to game 3 soon, and let's see if TaeJa's still gonna go for that one base play there, because this time around PartinG really was able to deflect it, and it just blew up in TaeJa's face.
PartinG bringing his own aggression, as you say. TaeJa trying to make the one-base plays work, and then when they blow up in your face, it doesn't feel too good. So he's maybe going to mix things up, and definitely TaeJa is one of those guys who should still be practiced enough, even if he hasn't been performing as much at tournaments as he was last year. He's still going to be practiced enough to bust out some slightly different builds. And as we move into our game number 3, it's still a best of 7, so these guys have lots of wiggle room, but who's going to take the momentum back in this series on Coda?
Well, so far, actually, let's go ahead and take a look at the poll that we have going on in the chat right now. Who will win the main event best of 7? And it seems that most people are believers in PartinG. 64.3% believe that the Protoss will get the second win in between these two guys on Fight Night. Of course, these guys played earlier in the year, in May, when they faced off on a Fight Night show match, and PartinG took it narrowly 4-3. So it's really anyone's game. I mean, both these guys are very capable, and true to Fight Night form, we've seen everything up to that ace match.
I would definitely love to see another ace match here, kind of a mirror of the previous Fight Night that we saw back in May, as you were kind of referencing there. So, going into game number 3, 2 absolute champions, 2 titans, matching it out. And now, we're going to be on Coda for the potential, kind of tiebreaker to give one of these players a bit of momentum for the rest of this series.
All right, so on Coda LE, we are starting on the bottom right-hand side here with this red Protoss player who was able to even things up after game 2. He's playing for Yoe Flash Wolves, guys. Give it up for PartinG.
And on the left side, the blue Terran player. He's been pretty aggressive with his one base. Can he take back the momentum? Liquid TaeJa!
All right, so let's see if it's racks first or gas first. That's kind of the way that things usually set off here for Terran. I think we're going to see a barracks. I'd be surprised if he still continues with gas first. And yeah, we're probably gonna see that 75 minerals. He's past it, so gonna be a standard opener from TaeJa here, or not? Maybe CC first actually.
He's starting to build up that bank. Yeah, 14 CC.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's fairly gutsy. Thus far, we haven't seen the second gas get dropped from PartinG, which, if he wants to do something cheeky, it'll probably be dropped in the next couple moments. And there it is. 2 gases versus a CC first. So definitely a lot of aggressive options are available to PartinG. Or, like the last game, he could go for a bit of a delayed push, as we saw him take his Nexus before really moving out with his Stalkers.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, it comes down to scouting, which, to be honest, PartinG hasn't really done much of. Last game did not scout TaeJa at all. Didn't hurt him one bit. This game, though, you know, if he lets TaeJa get away with greed, we all know how that turns out. TaeJa, always the kind of guy who will just drop all over the place with bio and really drive you nuts. So you let him get into that comfort zone on 2-3 base, you will pay for it in the mid game. Of course, we are talking about PartinG here, but we'll see. PartinG right now going with a 2-gas opener once more and waiting on that Cybercore to finish up.
2 racks going to be the follow-up for TaeJa. He could potentially, there we go, actually drops the 3rd racks as well. So the 3 racks follow-up is, I don't know that it's the most common kind of follow-up that we see to the CC first, but it is definitely one of the ones that is very common. You get the opportunity to get a lot of units out and prioritize that Marine production. So it is going to be useful versus the Stargate that's coming in.
Oh, yeah, and the Stargate, is it scouted by TaeJa? No, it's not. It is not scouted by TaeJa at all. It's right in that corner, and TaeJa didn't quite travel to it. Never will again. The SCV is dead. So
he should have an idea, though. He saw the gases with the 6 workers.
Yeah,
he should have an idea. I don't know how much he's able to draw from it.
Yeah, the thing too is like maybe right now he's thinking it could be a proxied Stargate because he couldn't find it in the main. And that's why he's sending this SCV out. Regardless, though, it's not going to make a difference as far as his need to defend because really, a lot of times you open up with Reaper expand, then you'll send the Reaper to try to unpower the Stargate that's proxy, right? In this game, he doesn't have anything. He opened up CC first, so he's just going to have to try to mass Marines here, get 6 in each mineral line, and then just kind of settle with that. The issue here, though, is the first Oracle's already out, so he's going to have to rely on Bunker.
The first bunker going to be coming down, and through the middle of the map goes that Oracle, the Nexus, now on the way, as well as the Robo Bay, or the Robo Facility, excuse me, going to be added on into the main base. And here are the Marines. There are 6 of them. They're on their toes. TaeJa is paying attention. He might end up losing a couple of these Marines down by the natural and losing a couple of SCVs as well. That can be a bit troublesome, but with 4 SCVs down, and all of those are on this Oracle, it's starting to pay for itself in a pretty big way. TaeJa technically has the numbers to defend, but this Oracle got 7 kills.
Hey, when you play against a person with like TaeJa, PartinG with that kind of micro, having the numbers doesn't count because he has mobility. He's going to outmaneuver you, and right now TaeJa is paying for it. He's down to 24 workers. To his credit, he's got 2 bases. He's got the mules to help mitigate the losses. But so far, this Oracle is getting in some good work.
Of course, as long as he keeps that Oracle alive, the threat always remains, and TaeJa always has to be a little bit wary of it. Now, again, a stark contrast to the previous game, that Colossi, well, I almost said Colossi Den, but the Robo Facility, or excuse me, Robo Bay, going to be coming out, and hopefully we'll see Extended Thermal Lance be a considerable time earlier than it was in the previous game. Oracle steps forward, turns around at just the right moment.
Yeah, and, with the presence of the Oracle, like, keeping that alive is crucial. You're just going to continue to, be on the back of TaeJa's mind. He has to keep his Marines at home. He has to worry about losing things here and there if he's not paying attention. And that is always extremely annoying. Not to mention that your Oracle will be able to drop a revelation to see if TaeJa moves out. So really, that is a source of huge frustration here for the Terran right now.
Well, there are the tech labs going to be finishing up on at least one of them. We saw, again, a Marauder heavy force last game, and it may be happening again as Stim is halfway done, but the factory finally going to be completed. Oracle's
back.
Oh, yep. It keeps turning around. He runs up to the natural kind of mineral line, and then he's like, oh, the Marines are still there. All right.
But this also is, for PartinG to say, hey, like, your units are at home. You're not making a timing push or anything. So, I'm just going to continue doing my thing over there, not needing to warp in gateway units or anything, just teching, making Colossus one at a time. We have the scan here from TaeJa, who confirms that it is going to be some pretty standard tech transitioning here from PartinG. Oh, there's the move out from TaeJa. Guess what? PartinG sees it with his Oracle. Didn't quite do a revelation, but his observer can track it too.
12 SCVs have been killed throughout this game, going to that Oracle. Just a testament to the power that is possessed within the finger touches of PartinG. Extended Thermal Lance only about halfway done, but of course, in this particular game, unlike Terraform, there isn't the mass of stalkers that we saw from PartinG earlier. TaeJa going to split off a Marine to check over by that third base, and actually, he'll see the Nexus just as it goes down.
He will, and his army, though, just backed off a bit here. Right now, it's just in the center of the map, but there's no medevacs. I don't think TaeJa wants to push yet until he gets those, and the first two, I believe, just popped. So with that, he's probably going to make his first attempt at aggression in this game, and PartinG right here, going to have two Colossus. That's sufficient to defend here. Of course, if TaeJa decides to split off a group and drop, that's going to be problemsome. This Oracle is getting in some work, by the way. 16 kills in total now, still hanging in there, 46 hit points. And TaeJa's still losing workers here and there.
Sniping observers, as he does. TaeJa, probably the best at sniping observers I think we've ever seen. Unlike a guy like Bomber, who would basically never expend a scan if he has to. TaeJa's he's fine with dropping a couple of stands here and there, keeping his opponent in the dark, forcing them to use that robo to rebuild observers instead of pumping out Colossi or whatever else they might want to produce. PartinG going to be trying to keep an eye on this force. It does snipe a pylon at the edge of his base, limiting his vision once again.
And now TaeJa seems to be bringing his units together to potentially push here. It is scouted by the hallucinated Phoenix, though, which gives TaeJa pause, it appears. I think he wants to make a two-prong attack, and I think that's not a bad idea. Force PartinG to defend his various assets here. He decided to take the third earlier than you. Punish him for it. We're seeing two medevacs drop in the main base. That's going to get shut down quick, but now the third is exposed.
It's going to get targeted down. The Nexus will be sniped. He's been taking some notes from Pult, lowering his sights on that Nexus and firing away as the Oracle shows up. Maybe a little bit too late. Does drop the reveal, the revelation on those units, and we'll be able to just kind of see where they are for at least a little bit longer. Although inside of the medevac, yeah, the medevacs are tagged, so he's fine. Colossi count is still looking good, though. Sitting at 3 right now.
Sitting at 3, and let's see, Vikings will start popping here for TaeJa. But with his drop-heavy play, and there's 2 Vikings, but with his drop-heavy play style, he's probably going to sink a little more investment into some medevacs here. So far, the multiple prong attacking has worked out. And, that's kind of the risk you run as Protoss, taking your third that much sooner than your opponent. And, understandably, PartinG's thinking he can get away with it because of how much damage he did to TaeJa earlier on. But still, I mean, Bio has that kind of mobility that is hard to really keep up with. And it just didn't work out for PartinG when it came to that third.
TaeJa, 4 dropships about to hit the main base of PartinG. Well, they have the potential of hitting the main base. They're just kind of camped out front, potentially. TaeJa waiting for the opportune moment. He's split up his drops onto the left and to the right sides of the map, potentially going to hit over at the third first, maybe try to draw his opponent out of position. Into the third he goes, but this is enough Colossi to repel this very easily. He turns back away from the main base as well. Yeah, he's heading home.
Yeah, he's seen quite a bit of stiff resistance there. The Doom drop isn't going to happen, and so I guess TaeJa's going to back off home here. You know, he knows he's got his third a lot sooner. He's been mining a bit more lately, so he can feel a little comfortable with that. But soon he's going to have to contend with another form of tech here from PartinG, and it is, of course, the very expected Psystorm upgrade here. And we're going to have to start seeing some ghosts out of TaeJa very soon. So we're going to move into that late stage here in this PvT.
He's dropping down 3 additional racks, so he's looking to amp up that production. For now, lots of more Vikings being added on as well. He's still focused on killing off those Colossi, even though the Colossi count hasn't been growing very quickly. PartinG has been focusing on producing other units from his Robo. Now a Warp Prism about to pop out, so he'll have that extra kind of that ability to warp in those, you know, late game Zealot run-bys and do damage that way. Well, these 2 High Templar also keeping an eye out, looking for drops. The Scouting Marine will see that Warp Prism.
All right, so, you know, TaeJa really still has to keep up the aggression here. It's not time to just rest on his laurels. This is the mid-game. This is where Protoss, you know, can potentially be vulnerable, and you just have to keep pressing the issue here as you continue to expand yourself. Because, if, you know, if you don't want to let PartinG just get all the tech he wants. So we're going to see TaeJa push here in one big ball. Lots of Vikings at his disposal as well. That can be a very quick way to deal with Colossus. Ooh, this scan will take out that Observer. I think PartinG saw all those medevacs get loaded too.
He saw at least, well, the second Observer will definitely see them. Keep in mind, PartinG's his Warp Prism is up north, going to be dropping down a couple of Zealots to load back in. And, well, is TaeJa going to try to engage the main base? Keep in mind, there are still those 2 High Templar, and a couple of these medevacs are basically full on energy. There's been so much energy building up inside of these medevacs. They're edging closer to the base.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cannons here as well. So, you know, for one, I see one very eligible medevac for immediate disposal in that orange one. Right here, we have a Zealot run-by here on this third base. TaeJa able to clean that up, though, with the units he was producing back at home. Doom drop seems to be heading back to the third now. Is that an F2 sort of deal?
That very well could have been. Keep in mind, this is 6 medevacs full of bio supply, so a lot of potential. We did see quite a few SCVs going down, and now 4 ghosts on the way. You mentioned that TaeJa would need the ghosts. The Ghost Academy was dropped a little while ago, and of course now the ghosts, we're finally seeing them produced. TaeJa, he's always looking for the angle to engage, but he has not found it yet. There's the jump forward from PartinG in the middle of the map. Okay, he's not pulling, he's not engaging just yet. He was blinking to kill off some scouting units, but for now, he's pulling back.
He definitely is. The 4th base has been, oh, actually, it hasn't been stopped. That SCV was down to one little sliver of health, but able to continue building, and it will finish. PartinG's had his 4th a little sooner, though. Are we going to see an engagement here? Stalkers blink back immediately. Definitely not wanting to challenge those Marauders. In the meantime, though, look at all these charge lots. That's a lot of charge. That's almost like a dump from PartinG, just wanting to sacrifice those for something else. There's one Storm, narrowly misses the Vikings, but this third is just being ravaged right now.
17 Zealots with basically no counter to them, even when they've just got +1 attack with +2 about to finish. It's a very dangerous situation for TaeJa. Keep in mind, TaeJa ended up losing a few too many Vikings, which means these 4 Colossi may still have a lot of power. One Storm goes down, and TaeJa, he's not ready to commit to the engagement just yet, but keep in mind, in his natural is getting absolutely ravaged. These ghosts don't have the cloaking, which means the Zealots are getting on top of them quite easily. Back at the front lines, TaeJa still not committing to the attack. He's losing so much back home. There's actually an EMP on top of the Zealots to clean some of them up, but of course there's not enough firepower back home for TaeJa to stand against the army of PartinG.
Oh man, TaeJa's being at best a little indecisive with his big army too. Kind of his attention being split between 2 locations right now. He is dodging the storms pretty well, though. I do have to say, not a lot of damage being done by those, but sooner or later he's going to have to engage this army of PartinG to be able to do the counter damage he needs, because right now, back home, things are falling apart.
Down to 21 SCVs is TaeJa. He needs to make this happen right here on the north side. Those Vikings getting fantastic shots against the Colossi, but that's not the only thing he has to worry about. The storms coming down, the AoE tearing this army apart, and TaeJa falling absolutely to bits. GG!
Wow, wow, wow. You know, a zealot dump from PartinG is just to dump the zealots so he can make something better. And instead, it managed to just completely force TaeJa to fall apart. And really, even in that battle, you know, it was kind of even at the end there, but you have no economy at home to make any replacements. So that was the end of it. So, you know what? Strong move there from PartinG, and because of it, score is now 2-1 in the lead of the Protoss.
In classic Team Gravity fashion, TaeJa winning game number 1, then loses games 2 and 3. So we'll have to see exactly how he plays this one out. I think PartinG was a little bit inspired by the Legacy of the Void cinematic. He was like, man, that Zealot warped in looks so cool. 40 gateways? I'm gonna do that. Just warps in infinite Zealots to attack his opponent. Although that was a PvZ.
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, in these macro games, PartinG's been doing really well. Let's see if TaeJa can respond here. Of course, map choice is going to be a big part of that, I would have to think. We still have some funky ones coming up. We're looking at Dash and Terminal, Bridgehead. These are 2 maps where all kinds of crazy things can happen. So we'll see what they pick. And as far as you guys, what have you been picking? Looks like things are starting to go back in TaeJa's favor a bit. 40% for TaeJa, 60% for PartinG. Still, PartinG right here seems to be the favored player here. So, well, with a 2-1 record, so far so good.
Moonlight Madness will be our game number 4, and it's one where we've seen a variety of builds be able to work, from the wonky to even the greedy. And for this map, if you CC first to the back expansion, it definitely is a build that can work out very well because of those rocks. You have to be mindful against a guy like PartinG, but it's definitely something that can work out. So we're going to be looking to PartinG to potentially set the pace. He's the one who's up 1 game in this best of 7 series, but TaeJa, he's certainly, even in that last game where he was a bit indecisive and he started to fall apart near the end, he's definitely got he's definitely still got a lot of power left.
Yeah, he definitely does. And, you know, TaeJa had some good moments that game. I mean, he fell behind early on with losing the workers because, you know, his CC first opener didn't put him in the best spot to defend against the Oracle. But he was able to snipe that third. And that changed things potentially. But then, of course, you know, at the end of the game, like that engagement, just falling apart at home, really, that's what it comes down to. So we'll see here now on Moonlight Madness if he can turn it around. So starting up here, upper right-hand side is going to be the blue Terran player representing Team Liquid. Currently down 1-2. We have here TaeJa.
In the bottom left-hand corner, he is the big boy. He's almost everybody's favorite Protoss, Yoey Flash Wolves PartinG! And of course, if you guys are enjoying these games, you can use the coupon code PartTaeJa, which is PartAeja, over on Matcherino.com. You just search for the PartinG vs. TaeJa show match, and you can donate directly to the prize pool of these players. It's a 60-40 split. So Matcherino.com, and you can donate directly to these players if you think their play is awesome. Matcherino.com has already donated $50 in addition to this main event prize pool. So a big thank you to them. But TaeJa, he's going back to that 13, to the like 12 gas 13 racks that won him game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, you know, well, game number 1 it worked. From game number 2, it did not. That's kind of the thing is, PartinG just defended out with such ease. It wasn't even an issue for him. So I don't know, kind of a risky thing for him to do this. I know Moonlight Madness is a weird map in the way it's organized, but that doesn't really lend itself to, you know, stronger 1-1-1 opener from Terran or anything like that. So I don't know. We'll see if TaeJa can reenact the same magic he had for game number 1. Right now, though, PartinG, let's see if he goes with that double gas Mothership Core expand again. I think that was kind of what really helped him out in game 2 for defending against the 1-1-1. So, if he gets comfortable here, says, I don't have to expect a 1-1-1 from him again, that could lead to him being vulnerable. But it looks like right now he is sticking to his script.
Again, that script, which has kind of dictated these two players, some of their previous games. In this situation, TaeJa, I don't expect him to be getting nervous about playing PartinG, but I certainly hope that he respects the skill that PartinG has showed over these past years. He respects it by stealing those minerals from PartinG. Of course, he looks inside the main, he checks the natural, he's like, all right, I have a very good handle on what you're doing. When you take both of your gases like this, your cyber core's in the main, and of course there's no nexus started, it's a limited range of builds that you're probably going for.
Yeah, and PartinG, knowing that the SCV is still lingering, gonna go with the Mothership Core first, and then just wait on the additional 100 gas, and let's see what he does with it. It's not gonna be proxied if he decides to go into tier 2. That is, he could just go ahead and expand as well. He's starting to bank up the minerals, so I think it's gonna be Nexus instead. So we'll see. PartinG can quickly follow this up with a Stargate anyway. It's not a big difference. Right now, though, TaeJa, he is gonna actually push out with a Hellion first. So the Hellion, let's see if it can waltz into that main base. The Stalker is a little far from home.
The Mothership Core will be able to mount a bit of defense. Hopefully PartinG doesn't stack his probes like he did in that game number 1.
Oh, yeah, that was...
It's like the game-winning move, but you win the game for the other player.
Absolutely. That was just so hard to watch. Well... hard meaning just you feel for all the families of those SCVs, losing the breadwinner of the family. They probably have children they left behind. My goodness. But one thing though is TaeJa was able to scout the Twilight Council with that Hellion. Now he doesn't know that it's leading to Dark Shrine as opposed to Blink. That's the wrinkle in all of this.
Against a guy like PartinG, you would expect Blink. That would be totally acceptable, totally standard. And then, of course, you're not so sure when you have to play up against Dark Templar. Fortunately for TaeJa, he may be able to scout this as he goes for this bit of an attack. Going to be dropping pretty much directly on top of one of the Stalkers. There are other Stalkers here for the defense, and Hellion's going to be adding an extra bit of DPS, even turning around to snipe that additional probe. But there's Photon Overcharge going to be pushing this army back, and of course TaeJa didn't get far enough to actually be able to see that. Is going to be able to pick off a couple more probes, bringing the killed count up to 4 total probes in this game. Also, he could actually end up trapping these Stalkers, which could spell defeat as more reinforcements come across the map. Photon Overcharge is, of course, a long way away for this second Nexus.
Oh, man, that was... it just turned around so quick for TaeJa there. Look at that meta that finally gets sniped. It was fully loaded at one point, leaving the main base. Those Stalkers could have just gotten one more shot to snipe a fully loaded medevac with Marines. Instead, we see TaeJa just cornering PartinG and making life difficult for him. But one thing PartinG does have going for him, though, is his Dark Shrine's done. He's going to be able to get in a counterattack right now. He can warp in DTs to defend if necessary, too. A lot of options at his disposal.
The pylon next to the rocks allowing him to warp in on TaeJa's side. TaeJa mounting an attack at the natural of PartinG, of course, trying to do a bit more damage, but he doesn't know the pain he's about to go under with these 2 Dark Templar as they start to make their way into the main base. 2 kills on 1. GG!
Oh my gosh. Ooh. And really, TaeJa just dropped a mule, and that was that. No energy. Was going to be epically delayed with the SCVs and the mining on 1 base compared to PartinG's 2. And just like that, PartinG is now up 3-1. The thing, too, is I really feel like TaeJa should have known that was coming, because he saw the Twilight Council a while ago, but never saw Blink. The Stalkers never blinked, right?
That's true. They never did. And that's one of those things where it's like, you can't be completely sure, but you can get the idea, because it's not like people hide Blink for terribly long. They're much more interested in, using it to make their units survive a bit longer, which against those Hellions, against the Marines, it would have been very helpful. The other thing is, he didn't see very many units. And it's like, when you're going for that Dark Shrine when you're going for the proxy pylon and then saving your resources to warp in those additional Dark Templar, you're going to have a weaker army back front. And of course, TaeJa was just like, oh yeah, I'm wrecking this nerd. Easy peasy. But there's a reason why there wasn't as many units back home defending.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you know, there were clues. It's hard in the heat of the moment to like say, oh, this has to be DT, right? I mean, I can't hold that against TaeJa, but there were clues kind of left out on the field there. And, you know, if you don't pick up on them, it's GG and a match point in game number 5.
Certainly not what we wanted to see. I remember last time. Oh, never mind. Forget absolutely everything as we are going to be loading into Dash and Terminal for game number 5. One of these players has 3 wins under their belt, but this man in the northern position, kind of 12 o'clock, going for the gold, going for your hearts. It's Liquid TaeJa.
And against him, we do have the player who is up 3-1 and looking to close things out in game number 5 here for a rare 5-game series for the feature presentation. But yes, we do have here the blue Protoss in the 3 o'clock position for Yoe Flash Wolves. It is PartinG.
You can never trust a TaeJa, but a 10-gate... that is PartinG mixing things up. He is 13-gated every single time. And I don't know if he suspects this particular build, but he definitely wants to put on some sort of aggression.
I would not blame him for suspecting it. This is something that Terrans do quite a bit, I have to say, on Dash and Terminal. And, you know, PartinG with a 10-gate can be going in a variety of directions. It could be to get out a really early stalker to just bother the heck out of PartinG. It could be just trying to get out the fastest Oracle possible and then combine that with the short distance. Could be another tricky thing for TaeJa to deal with. Either way, we're seeing some pretty interesting openers from both guys right now.
And this is one of those series, this is one of those games that is one that's so much fun to watch, but I can't imagine playing, where it's just like, I have no idea what to do. Because as weird as this map is, this still is not the standard thing to do. And it's a very gutsy thing for TaeJa to attempt when his life is on the line. But of course, guys, due to the donations from Matcherino, TaeJa, even if he loses right here, even if this is where his story ends, he'll still walk away with $40. Not too bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. And, you know, you guys are helping to make it possible here. Matcherino is an awesome way for people to really try to interact with the game. I know I've said that a lot, but really it's kind of something novel. It's not on a lot of other streams or any. And this is a really cool feature that we hope will really make things even more unique for the Fight Night stream than what you already see. So we do have TaeJa here moving right into, you know, the factory afterwards and taking advantage of that extra mineral mining, staying on one base again. Seems to be his preferred opener of choice. Only taken an early expansion in one of the games so far. Of course, on Dash, if you're going to do the float to gold, you're going to stay on one base anyway. But we are going to have the Mothership Core from PartinG make its debut over here. And 3 Marines should not have an issue of forcing that Mothership Core back. That 3rd Marine gets into the bunker.
PartinG, he's interested in weakening those Marines as much as possible. He's got the Stalker. Well, it was headed to what should have been the main base, but now it's going to be on the high ground shooting down at the SCVs in virtual safety.
100% safety, but we're going to see the factory lifted to provide high ground vision for this Widow Mine, and that should be enough to force off PartinG. So this is pretty funny, right? And the Stalker's still in perfect range.
Wow.
To continue attacking SCVs. And the Widow Mine, oh my gosh, could have died there. Really could have.
Oh, PartinG, an absolute pixel perfect play. He's got just like 1 range more than the Widow Mine, and he is maximizing that usefulness. Still, not a lot of SCVs have gone down just yet. 2 in total. Marines now going to be dropped onto the high ground as back home, the Robo is going to start for PartinG. He knows what's up. The jig is up. Oh, the Stalker over there needs to back off a little bit. Okay, he does indeed keep it safe. PartinG, he's forced back. His aggression has been kind of stopped, but he's still got more options available. Actually, sniping down some of these SCVs, building the additional racks.
Yeah, this is really messing up the production of TaeJa. And the problem with this is that PartinG is coming with a one base all in. So if you don't have production to match that, it's going to be lights out. And look at what PartinG's doing right now. I mean, other than, you know, hilariously taking out these SCVs from the high ground. His back home, he's doing a 3-gate robo. Is it 3 gates exactly? Yeah, it is. So he's pulling a 4-gate robo, actually. So this guy is pulling something out of the Wings of Liberty playbook here, okay? One base with robo, going to be doing an all-in. Not something we see in HOTS generally, but the map has almost kind of forced him to do it. And let's see if it works out for him.
These Stalkers on the high ground is such a good move from PartinG. TaeJa going to try to get another 3-Marine drop off, but it does get spotted by that Stalker in the middle of the map. The Stalker taking a lot of damage. We'll have to be careful. It will be boosted upon, and these Marines may be able to just... Nope, won't be able to take it down. And the additional Stalker buddies show up to shoo away that medevac. If they do get a good angle on those Marines, they could kill it off. On the high ground with more SCV kills, these two Stalkers, 5 and 7 kills between them, and I'm sure most of those are in SCVs. There's 8 SCVs in total have gone down throughout this game.
Oh, absolutely nuts. And that's exactly the difference between these two players, by the way, and their number of workers. 25 to PartinG now, 18 to TaeJa. Of course, TaeJa does have mules, so we can't forget that. The funny thing, though, is he's actually banking up on energy right now because he doesn't want to mine out of that gold too fast. I mean, he's been on one base for quite a bit, and you know how golds are. They mine out pretty quick. We're already seeing that center patch, actually, just lacking a little something there. So, really... the benefits of it are going to run out soon.
TaeJa is picking up with a lot of units in his main. He's, have to dealing with a lot of Stalkers. The Mothership Core goes down. That's a lot of the defense gone for PartinG, but of course he already got off that Nexus cannon. PartinG looking to end things right here, right now. This tank even going to be contending with that Nexus, but TaeJa has to win the game right now. Into the mineral line go the Stalkers. He's got a couple of Marines, try to mount a defense, and there actually are 2 tanks here. He's going to try to micro to his heart's content, but it's looking so dire for TaeJa here on Fight Night.
Yeah, TaeJa's trying really hard to make sure he can unfocus the photon overcharge on those tanks. He's just trying to lift them, to take it out of the auto fire. He needs the DPS from the tanks. Probes being pulled right now as a last-ditch resort to hold off. The photon overcharge, though, is dead now. And you know how base races go when it comes to dealing with Terran and float buildings.
There's actually only 2 probes left. TaeJa, which actually, if you think back to the previous series that they played in Fight Night, it turned into a draw on Expedition Lost. TaeJa, he's trying to force that once again, but he's got that full energy orbital that you brought up previously. He doesn't even need workers. He currently has 0 SCVs, but he don't care. Stalkers being brought back to kill off the tanks. The micro from TaeJa keeping those tanks alive way longer than they should have been, and PartinG is being revealed somehow. He actually kills almost all of those Stalkers. That Warp Prism, oh, so close, but PartinG and TaeJa both survive in a weird situation.
Survive? I don't know about surviving for PartinG, man. Oh, but he had a Warp Prism, too.
Exactly.
He's dropping onto the new base.
He doesn't have enough for a Nexus, but of course he does have enough to keep these Stalkers alive, slowly warping them over one by one using that Warp Prism. TaeJa forced to come back for the defense. Everything is right here for him. He's down 1-3 in a best of 7. He picks up once again. He's going to take his chances elsewhere. The tank goes down! He's got almost nothing left. Nothing but his hopes and his dreams that this Banshee will be able to do it.
But you have to understand, this is going to be a draw now.
Oh my word.
It's a draw because
the Banshee.
Because PartinG has no money, he has no probes, and the Stalkers can't fly.
Oh my word! In 2 series, this is actually happening again.
Oh my gosh! Did
they
this happen last time?
Yeah, on Expedition Lost. TaeJa said draw, PartinG says okay. We're playing another game.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my word. I can't even believe this. I have to double check on Team Liquid because I looked up this stat before we came to this game, but it was a draw in the previous series, and I'm pretty sure it was on Expedition Lost, and I'm not sure what the map score was, but I can't believe this is happening. Again.
Wow. Something about these two guys coming together for a show match really brings out the best of Fight Night. And so that was 8 games, right? That was an 8-game series.
It was an 8-game series. I don't even know. These two guys are out of control. Expedition lost. It was a draw. And actually, it was a 3-game opening win for PartinG. So he opened up 3-0, drew on Expedition lost, and then TaeJa took back 3 games.
Wow.
Fight Night does not disappoint, ladies and gentlemen.
And did you and I cast that one?
We did not. You may have casted it, but I did not.
I felt like I casted, so if it wasn't you, I don't know who, but wow.
I don't even know what to say about this. This is just absolutely incredible.
Well, you know how these regames go, guys. It's like it never happened. Of course, it will always. Oh, no. Hey, let's let's do it again, guys. Here we go with the lift off back to the gold base, and we're gonna have to slightly alter our introductions for these guys again. So here we go. First player on Dash and Terminal LE in game number 5, the regame, I suppose. We do have here the player for Team Liquid, almost losing, but just getting by with the draw, as this is match point. Can he get the win? He needs it. Folks, we do have here Liquid TaeJa.
And on the other side of the map, in the correct spawn position at 3 o'clock, is Yoey Flash Wolves PartinG! Literally the same openers, the same 10 gate for PartinG. Oh my word.
Yeah. You have to appreciate the, the confidence here, and, not feeling like, oh, I have to like switch up my plan now, because, they're doing the same exact thing, which is pretty funny.
Might as well. I mean, for TaeJa, it kind of worked out last game. I don't know if we end up getting infinite draws, does this, like, who takes home the money? I don't even know.
Let's take it home, Cyber, you and me. Forget these guys.
Yes, we get money for basically no reason, but once again, PartinG, I don't even know, man. Like, he's just going crazy. And of course, TaeJa knows where all of his weaknesses were in game number 1 of this repeat. Right. So how is he going to adjust? Because honestly, I felt like PartinG was really just toying with TaeJa up until the counter drop from TaeJa with the tanks. That's really the one highlight of the game that was good for TaeJa. Everything else was kind of like PartinG having stalkers on the high ground messing with you. PartinG, like, just poking at you from the front as well and making your life difficult, stopping your production as you were trying to build your buildings. Like, if TaeJa can shore up all those deficiencies, this could be a different outcome in his favor. He certainly will need to improve himself a little bit to have a repeat. And actually, as one of the Team Gravity guys was just saying in chat, the only draws that have ever happened in Fight Night are TaeJa and PartinG. So it's not even that they got it twice in a row. It's they're the only ones. Stargate now going to be coming down for PartinG. He's learning from his mistakes. He's got that mothership core, and he's like, okay, you're doing the same thing.
He is, and the 3 Marines are out now, so this is almost like deja vu. We're going to see each Marine get microed back, maybe run into that bunker, which is in the same place. Actually, he loses the Marine this time around. Ooh. So PartinG already is, 2 Marines as well. PartinG actually is doing a little better here.
Much better. This is a bit of a problem for TaeJa. He had trouble holding off the attacks of PartinG last time, and now I can only imagine it's going to be even worse.
Well, let's see what's going on as far as production for PartinG. Things have changed for him. He's not making stalkers right now to go and attack from the high ground or whatever. This Widowmine's going to load Honda, killing it too. That is well done. But so is the Stargate. The Stargate is well done. And, wow. Not
only the Stargate, but the Fleet Beacon is rare and will soon be well done.
I like... You did that on purpose, right?
I mean, I said that intentionally, yes.
That's great, man. See, this is why we deserve the prize pool. So let's just end it right here. And
SCV love song going on.
Oh man, so it is the rare combination.
Oh, GG!
Oh my.
The drop from TaeJa with the fleet beacon denying any real army units from PartinG. He had one stalker who was on the other side of the map. TaeJa bringing it back, evening things up 2-3. You guys didn't think it was possible. TaeJa doing it again. What up? This guy.
What is this? You know, people are gonna think this is staged, man. People are gonna think this is staged. And staged by these two guys, not by us. We're just like the unwitting observers here, okay? This is... My gosh, dude. I don't know what to say about that.
I can't even believe that this is, like, actually happening. And as you say, it feels staged, but much like the WCS playoffs, where it was like, no, this is too ridiculous. We can't write that. No one will believe us. And it's like, somehow... They go for the same build, and then PartinG's like, I'm going to make the smart adjustment. I'm not going to be caught out with no air units. I'm going to get Phoenix, Void Rays, something that can shoot stuff that's in the air. And then he's like, no, double down on the air units. Fleet Beacon, immediately. I don't need units. Wow.
Unbelievable. I think, you know, a big thing, too, is I know he was trying to get aggressive with the Mothership Core, you know, to attack and whatnot. Imagine if that Mothership Core was home with Photon Overcharge. You know, he would have been okay. But he had nothing. Absolutely nothing against a guy you knew who was going one base. At least he's got room for error. That's all I can say. Score is now 3-2. So, I don't know. But this is fight night. You don't want to get cocky. You don't. Because Game 7 is just right around the corner.
And I don't even care if it ends here, because this is almost like a game number 7. If you count the fact that we had the draw.
Yeah.
This is the 7th game that we'll be watching. 8 would be an absolute treat from these two. But I'm loving this series already.
Nuts. Just absolutely nuts. All right, well, here's Game 6 or 7, however you want to count it. And it is Cactus Valley LE. So we do have here the Teal Protoss on the upper left-hand side. And last game, just, I don't know, kind of couldn't really seal the deal. But here's an opportunity for him to do it. Playing for Yoe Flash Wolves, guys. It is PartinG.
And on the right-hand side, the Red Terran player able to kind of even things up and at least take back a game. Representing Team Liquid, this is TaeJa!
You know, with games like this, we should just have PartinG and TaeJa every single fight night. Why even, you know, the Team Gravity management team works so hard every week to try to find, you know, 6 new players to showcase. And, you know, we don't want you guys to see the same people every week. And, you know, we try to mix it up, and it's hard to coordinate too with so many people who have their own schedules, their own lives. But why even bother with all that? Just TaeJa PartinG every time. They're getting good money for it. I think they're going to be down. So
Of course, if you guys are enjoying these series, you can head over to matcherino.com. You can click the Find Matches button, and then go to the PartinG vs. TaeJa show match option, and then you can donate money directly to these players. It doesn't go to me, it doesn't go to Droopy, it doesn't even go to our observing and production man, Dalk. It doesn't go to Team Gravity. It goes to the players, a 60-40 split. Now, Matcherino has already donated $50 to this best of 7 in particular. So the winner will be walking away with $90, the loser with $40.
you guys should donate some to Cyrus, though. That steak joke was money. It was on the money. Really. Yeah, you guys consider that one, okay? His Twitter is @1Cybert, just, you know.
Of course, you can hit up @DroopyTown or @MasterDalk for the love of the other guys on the crew. But these two guys playing before us, I've got so much love for them after this series.
No, but really, please buy this man a steak dinner, guys.
I would love a steak dinner.
We are seeing a little bit of scouting going on. TaeJa sticking with that one base build. That's his thing, man. That is his signature here at this point, because basically 6 out of 7 games he has gone with a one base 1-1-1, and only one game he went with that Expo, which is the CC first, and he lost. So here we go with this, and right now, scouting around Cactus Valley, he's going to basically, by process of elimination, find where PartinG is. PartinG himself is choosing to expand here. Nexus is halfway done. He's on double gas. Let's see what he does with the Vespini's mind.
As you mentioned, both of these players scouting the exact wrong way. And with the way this map lays out, TaeJa does have a very nice path, yeah, he does have a very nice path into the natural of PartinG. It makes that main base a little bit harder to reach. So TaeJa, we're going to be looking for how his drop play is able to formulate. But Twilight Council on the way. PartinG, he's gonna have that clock of once he's got Blink, any drops from TaeJa are going to be a lot easier to shut down.
Indeed, indeed. And we're seeing the opener from TaeJa starting to take shape. Medevac is finishing up. He's going to bring some Hellions this time, too. Probably up the front. This is almost like a TVZ opener, except on a one-base version of it, I guess, where the Hellion runs up the front. The drop maybe lands in the main. We'll find out if that's what's in his plan. But for now, he's going to cross into that natural first. There's a Photon Overcharge available. Going to be very instrumental in defending against this. But TaeJa's going to fly right past it into the main.
Very nice block of... Oh, that Mothership Core takes a lot of damage, but a very nice block from those Stalkers on the ramp, keeping the Hellions from jumping inside. There's still 6 Marines on the high ground. They could potentially target down that Mothership Core. There goes the Photon Overcharge at the natural, going to be locking these units pretty much into the main base as they target down the Mothership Core and then pick up and get on out of there.
Absolutely. How much damage was done? Not too much, to be honest with you. I mean, we basically just saw, you know, a couple, maybe like, I don't have to guess. Let's take a look for sure. The Mothership Core. That's it. That's it, guys. And now that the Observer's out, Widowmine will be a thing of the past. And, well, what does TaeJa have to show for it, really? 23 workers in comparison to 31 of PartinG, and 1 base in comparison to 2.
The delayed second base from TaeJa can present some problems. We've got the Widowmine loaded up once again. Could boost into the main base once again. The Observer is, of course, here. It hasn't been set across the map to go for anything silly like scouting. He's going to be keeping it back at home, which is very important. There's the Widowmine. It does burrow. Probes have been pulled. The damage is going to be minimal. It goes into the extractor, and it's basically nothing.
Yeah, and there's another drop coming in from the right-hand side. TaeJa knows that, or sorry, PartinG knows that, you know, with TaeJa basically being on 1 base, still not having done real economic damage, the most he can do is continue to try to bring more drops in. And so he's just going to play a little defensively for a little while longer while he gets the tech he needs. Speaking of which, we're looking at Blink being researched. We're looking at Robotics Bay right now just being put down. And TaeJa is just, or PartinG is just firing on all cylinders here with his macro.
TaeJa, he's going to try to catch up. We can see him. He's taken his natural, finally. But, of course, that's the price you pay for this sort of opening that he went for. Bunker getting dropped at the front. And when the Forge comes in, when Blink finishes, there's a lot of aggressive options that will be on PartinG's plate. Of course, PartinG is the guy who very famously tore down Flash at Home Story Cup 10 in a fantastic finals with basically amazing Blink Stalker control.
Yeah, I mean, never count out the micro of him, or even TaeJa for that matter. I mean, TaeJa, always the guy who loves utilizing drops throughout a game. We haven't quite seen that yet in this series, just because he opens 1 base a lot. When it works, it doesn't work. You know, we kind of don't see the game play out into those late stages or even mid-game stages. But here, you know, let's see if we can get that kind of game, because I really think that's when TaeJa does his best. And on a map like Cactus Valley, it's an opportunity for him to really push this to Game 8 if he can have that kind of control and have an opportunity to use it.
It sounds kind of weird saying game 8 in a best of 7, but with that draw, that's what this turns into. Widowmine getting targeted down and eliminated immediately by PartinG. He's not going to be taking any of those shenanigans. Keep in mind, again, Thermal Lance is about halfway done. We saw in game number 2 on Terraform, TaeJa tried to commit to killing the Colossi, and PartinG was able to snipe down all of TaeJa's units because of TaeJa trying to commit to kill the Colossi. So again, if TaeJa makes a mistake like that, donating away Marauders, it could go PartinG's way very easily.
And there's also a lot of choke points here, very tricky to fight through, especially with the presence of the sentries on the field. Should TaeJa lose some units to force fields, that would not be a good look. Right here, though, TaeJa is really trying to pressure PartinG, though. Does he know about that third base that's finished? He does. So he knows that the clock is ticking. He is behind. He needs to do something right now to PartinG, because PartinG is not only leading in bases, he's leading by 14 workers. He has the tech he needs at 1147, and he still hasn't suffered any damage so far with all of this. So TaeJa absolutely needs to step on it.
One of the ways that he's stepping on it is with that third command center finally coming down. Marines engaging Stalkers in the middle of the map, but of course the Stalkers are going to jump forward trying to do as much damage as possible. And they're going to meet up with a couple of Marauders. They are going to get caught out by that concussive shell a little bit, and TaeJa able to pick up a couple of kills, but the Blink mostly saving most of those Stalkers. Again, double medevac drop waited for by those Blink Stalkers. It was spotted by the Observer, and of course, blinking doesn't help you if you don't actually utilize it, and these Marauders get themselves a couple of kills. They're going to be going for the Colossi. One Colossi targeted down. It's eliminated. The second one really doing tons of splash damage, but keeping that Colossi count low when you've got no Vikings is very important.
This is the start of what we expect to see from TaeJa on Cactus Valley. This is the kind of style you do. You sort of just manipulate your opponent's army back and forth as they struggle to defend their third base and their main, and then suddenly you start just wearing away at them bit by bit. There's still a lot of work to be done by TaeJa, but this is a good start.
With that third command center finishing up soon, it can become an orbital, and then the famous, Terran triple orbital, the triple mule power will come in. TaeJa, I believe, already added on his additional racks. Yeah, he's up to 5 for that 3 base production. So with the factory, with the starport, he's going to be all right. And of course, he's a master of the bio.
Absolutely. Right now, still staying aggressive here, but now PartinG is sensing an opportunity to push forward. He's going to bring his 2 Colossus as well. TaeJa, of course, being so aggressive with the drops, he's been making medevacs more than anything, so it's going to be a while before we start seeing Vikings out of him. Although we'll see from these Marauders how resilient they can be in trying to snipe Colossus. But as the number grows for PartinG, it's not going to be easy.
Zealot Charge is coming in for PartinG, and as we saw on the game on Coda, the 17 Zealot Warp and spell defeat for TaeJa. Templar Archives also going to be coming in, another one of those key pieces for PartinG to defeat the bio army of TaeJa.
Well, right now TaeJa's still moseying outside of the center of the map with this bio army. He wants to go and see if he can snipe his third. PartinG on top of it, seeing this coming, is not going to let that happen. And then TaeJa's going to have to back off a bit here, stim away those Marauders. In the meantime, does this buy it room for this drop at the top to land in the natural? No.
It got pushed away.
Yeah,
the cannons
exactly.
and the Zealots.
Exactly. So, I mean, good defense here from PartinG now. He's starting to be able to take hold of his territories, and TaeJa here may have to think of something else.
Psionic Storm has started, and as it ticks away at that research, 80 seconds. The clock for TaeJa. So many Terran players hate playing against Storm. Colossi AoE, Storm AoE, it's an absolute mess. So we're going to be looking to TaeJa, again, as Droopy was talking about on Coda, either looking for ghosts or attacking before it happens.
Indeed. So right now, Storm about to finish up as you were talking about, and right now TaeJa waiting on his +2 attack and armor. It's going to help him a lot here, but still, he is a little bit. Actually, he's kind of caught up. He's kind of caught up here. 173 supply with 67 workers. I think he's keeping up here in the later stages of
he
the
may
game.
be dropping in supply. No, narrowly escapes with those medevacs.
Yeah, that was a pretty quick maneuver there by TaeJa.
on the edge of death, a couple of those medevacs. We will have to keep an eye on them because those are targets for PartinG to potentially snipe a little bit later. Of course, PartinG up 3-2 in this best-of-7 series, on the cusp of taking it as the Ghost Academy gets added on. 4 Vikings at a time is what TaeJa has been pumping out from those starports for the last couple minutes.
Right now, the 4th is about to finish for PartinG.
Ooh.
Same, actually a new 4th. Ooh,
bit of an awkward engagement.
Ooh, storms are going down on those units. Not
Vikings
good for TaeJa.
closing in from the north. They're able to snipe down one of the Colossi, eliminated some of that AoE, but there's so few units left for TaeJa right here on the front lines. He's got reasonable army supply overall, but of course, part of that's in medevacs, part of that is in those Vikings.
Yeah, that was not a good engagement for TaeJa. He's still okay for now, but he cannot slip up like that again. In fact, this one may have already significantly set him back because really he's trying to catch up on supply once again. So one more time, it could be lights out. He needs to be careful with the next engagement. Cannot walk into storms. He needs his ghosts as soon as possible.
There's the big Zealot run by that one PartinG the game on Coda. Now, this isn't nearly as many Zealots. It's only 11. Which is still a scary amount, especially when you keep in mind that they don't have much opposition in the position where they are. But this is, again, a lot of problems that TaeJa is going to have to deal with sooner or later.
Yeah, and you know, let's take a look at that 4th base right now, the Zealot run by. This is what really broke TaeJa in game number 2 on Coda, if you guys remember. And he cannot let this happen again. Right now, he's back on the 3 bases. Here comes Storms, and he's running right through them momentarily. Oh my gosh, these Vikings are all getting sniped right now. This is not looking good for TaeJa. This is exactly what he didn't need.
And over at his natural, those Zealots getting torn apart a little bit, but they're also tearing apart so many SCVs and stopping the reinforcements from joining up with TaeJa's main army. 3-3 is on the way, but it's a long way from finishing for our Terran player. He turns around. He's going to try to snap up a couple of Stalkers. Colossi now joining the fray, and this is where those Vikings, which got sniped earlier, are going to be a problem. There's the EMP on top of all of the Stalkers, but the Zealots chewing through some of that bio. Not a lot of stutter step back. TaeJa gonna try to weather the storm and just snipe through absolutely everything as he cleans up a lot of the Stalkers, pushing on forward. One Colossi down. The second Colossi gets sniped as well. He's on top of the Stalkers. He's looking unstoppable right here on the front lines.
And where were the storms? I did not see any rain. That was a drought like we have here in California. And because of that, the bio was strong. It pushed right through those Stalkers, and those Colossus were just left basically with their pants down. I mean, to be honest with you, I thought that engagement started out a little sloppy for TaeJa, but because really it was just gateway units and really a couple of Colossus that died, that went well for him, and that's what TaeJa needed here to get back into this late game.
Once again, run-bys from the Zealots into the main base. That's not the most valuable base in terms of mining, but of course the infrastructure, and it's a primary reinforcement point for these units. TaeJa, a little bit awkwardly responding, is going to be able to get things under control, cleaning up that army with his reinforcements. Of course, keep in mind, he still has not secured an additional base, so he's long-distance mining from what would be his 4th.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest issue here for TaeJa right now is he does not have a 4th base. That's going to be very problematic for him. He needs to remedy that immediately. If you look at the numbers, it's not the end of the world, right? He's behind in supply by 30, which isn't great, but it's manageable. He's got 57 workers plus mules. That's going to be decent mining, but then that all assumes there's a 4th base. If there's no 4th base, then necessarily we're going to see a worse economy out of the Terran and an inability to catch back up to the Protoss when the Protoss is remaking his army that he just lost. So and now we see TaeJa even taking a 5th base. Sorry, not TaeJa. PartinG is taking a 5th base. So really, we need to see that 4th.
Oh, but in the middle, there's Colossi getting some good damage. They don't have a lot to buffer for them as the Zealots aren't really here. Keep in mind the Dark Shrine is going to be finishing up momentarily after this, so there's going to be even more problems than just the Zealot Warpins. Moving forward is TaeJa's army. He's ignoring the Stalkers. He's sniping the Colossi. They're all gone. The AoE has been eliminated. There's only an Archon in terms of AoE, and TaeJa busting through with that 3-3, barely managing to survive, but there's so many Zealots waiting for him.
Man, these last couple engagements have been so key for TaeJa. Absolutely on the money. PartinG still has a good economy, a better economy though. Does he have the time? Because now we're starting to see the production under threat. Ooh.
Zealots swarming all over this bio, and Stalker's going to be sniping down Medevac after Medevac. The one full of units goes down, and the reinforcement for Train for TaeJa is not looking too strong when it's getting chased by an Archon.
Not at all, and really TaeJa's running for his life here. That engagement didn't go well for him. It's back and forth, and so far, PartinG here seems to be on top. Why? Because his economy is allowing him to be, and he is able to remake everything he loses. TaeJa struggling in that department, only taking his 4th right now, which is being harassed by 1 Zealot. Storms going down on the few units TaeJa has over here. At this point, even regular gateway units can handle it. GG. And this will end in just 7 games. Final score, folks, is going to be 4-2.
Not quite what you would expect when you hear 7 games. You expect 4-3, but TaeJa taking it nearly to the limits, almost able to send us into an ace match. And because of the draw on Dash and Terminal, in a way, we got our ace match. So a big thank you to both of these players for showing up, playing games, and providing fantastic entertainment for us tonight. What an incredible series from these guys.
Yeah, and you know, players get a lot of credit. They're getting paid. They deserve it. Put on a fantastic show. And I hope that all 640 of you guys agree, man. You guys have all been here making this party happen. So it's important that we give you guys a shout out as well. Thank you for joining us here on Team Gravity's Fight Night this week. We hope you weren't disappointed. There's no way you could have been. These games were absolutely incredible. And please hit that follow button, help support us in continuing to bring you guys these amazing events week after week here. We're on number 32, guys, and we don't plan on stopping.
Of course, we have to give a big thank you to the people working behind the scenes, the Team Gravity management over at teamgravity.net, and of course, twitter.com/teamgrav. But the man that you didn't see, because he's silent and he's like the Dark Knight. He's the man that we need. It's Master Dolk, twitter.com/Master Dolk, working behind the scenes, doing his fantastic production work. There's so many cool little things that have been going on production-wise that maybe you didn't quite realize, but there are those higher-end touches that a guy like him brings to this production. And of course, he handles the observing and the streaming, so even when his power goes out, he's still an absolute joy. So a big thank you to him. And I believe we have some other people to thank as well. Is that right, Droopy?
Yeah, I mean, this wouldn't happen without our partners in crime here, helping to make these events bigger and better and just give you guys more ways to really interact and be involved in these fight nights. We do, of course, have Hitbox really showing this event all together, right, on their streaming service. We do have as well Spawning Tool, a great way to study some of these games. And these were great games. Uploading replays, analyzing build orders, that new custom build order function that Cyber has mentioned a couple times in the stream today. We also have Match Arena joining Team Gravity here and trying to, you know, really elevate the prize pool to further heights, creating a donation system that allows for the viewers to be able to, you know, directly have an influence on the prize pool as the game progresses, which is a really novel aspect. And yeah, man, all these different players coming together to bring to you guys in a 7-game series that only has, you know, 6 in the score.
We technically went to an ace match of sorts for every single one of these series. 2 best-of-5s and a best-of-7. Of course, brought to you by all the wonderful partners that Droopy just mentioned. And I think that will do it for all of us here on Team Gravity's Fight Night number 32. As Droopy said, there will be probably another one next week, Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you all very much for watching, and good night.
in this life.